Hey everybody, welcome back. Dimitri here. So today we have a lot to cover, therefore I'm going to go straight to the point and talk about a series of perfumes that, to my knowledge, best represent what real life materials smell like. What I'm really saying is that these perfumes are basically holograms of perfumes, of smells that you would get out there in a wild or on the street, maybe in a garden, in a forest, at home, whatever the case might be. These are 8. I'm gonna name 10 plus maybe an extra one at the end. I'm gonna start off with the most authentic rose perfume in existence. This should not be a surprise for those of you who watched my video about roses. This is Rose Selavy by Maria Candida Gentile. And this is a rose centifolia in a bottle. Centifolia means 100 leaves, by the way, and the roses actually have hundreds of leaves. And they smell incredible. They are so full. The reason why they are the most used roses in perfumery is because they have many nuances. They are green, honeyed, sweet, they are anisic, leafy. They have a spectrum of smells that might seem very simple at first, but really they aren't. And this perfume really encapsulates what a real rose smells like. Now, the dry down is fantastic. It becomes a woody green perfume. It's a woody green affair. Unlike many other rose-based scents who end up becoming generic and musky. A must try, do not be put off by the mediocre reviews on Fragrantica. Of course, this is not a perfume for everybody, but if you love your perfumes hyper-realistic and rosy, this is the answer. Okay, so Rose Selavy. Next up, guys, we're going to talk about the most authentic smelling Miser Sandalwood perfume that I know of. And this, of course, does not use real Miser sandalwood. It is pretty much impossible to find a perfume that does, simply because it is a very expensive material, restricted. Only the Indian government can hand out perfume oils from Miser and wood chips from Miser sandalwood trees. Now, I'm talking about Santal Blush by Tom Ford. Tom Ford, guys. Everybody knows it, and this to me is in the top 5 Tom Ford of all time. I don't know how they did it, but the first 15 minutes of this perfume is actual Miser sandalwood. Now, I suspect the reason is because they used a big dose of Javanol. Javanol is a registered material created by Givaudan, which is basically the closest material, synthetic material, that best represent Miser sandalwood. This thing, when you first spray it, guys, this is the perfume of a man's dream, especially my dream. It is milky, it has a fruity, prune kind of note, woody. It also has a vegetable feeling, probably given by the carrot, but the main star, especially at the beginning, is that Miser sandalwood accord. Miser sandalwood, guys, is a wood like no other. Of course, it has the typical pencil odor that you would think of whenever you picture wood and think of wood. But it also has many other nuances. It is lactonic, it is sweet, it is buttery, it is velvety, and this has it all. This is like a velvety, woody, sweet, milky perfume. Majestic, the perfume of the woman of my dreams. This is it. Spray it on clothes if you want that majestic top note to last more. This is Miser, guys. My nose does not deceive me. This is like, if you want to know what real Miser sandalwood smells like, it is not hard, guys. You're gonna have to pay at least 40 euros, $50. You will get a couple of mLs of oil. Just go on hermitage.com or on Profumo.it and order a small sample of sandalwood oil. Real Miser sandalwood, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna leave the links down below, guys. So this is it, guys. A designer sandalwood scent, basically. Next up, the most authentic smelling perfume that represents cinnamon. If you don't like your cinnamon, avoid this at all costs. I'm talking about Eau Lente by Diptyque. Now, Diptyque, they have 3 or 4 perfumes that are incredibly realistic and represent perfectly certain smell. For example, Philosikos is the perfect fig fragrance, and I could name a few more. I didn't want to mention the same perfume in the same video twice, so I'm just going to focus on the cinnamon one. This Eau Lente, guys, is the perfume of my dreams when it comes to cinnamon. This is a cinnamon stick. I don't know how they achieved this. It's just the chemical compounds of this scent are probably the exact same one that make up cinnamon. If you love Shalimar, for example, but you would enjoy extra note of cinnamon in it, try Eau Lente. You would not be disappointed. This is an ambery, powdery, majestic affair with a huge dose of cinnamon. Fantastic stuff. So realistic. Eau Lente by the house of Diptyque. Next up, the most authentic smelling Neroli scent out there. I guess you already know what I'm going to talk about. This is Neroli by Castle Forbes. Neroli is a very expensive material, guys. If you go on Hermitage.com, you will realize that floral notes are insanely expensive. This one, the reason why it is actually rather affordable is because the owners of this brand, Castle Forbes, own land. Oh man, perfect citrus scent. A land in Scotland. They own a castle and they grow their own orange trees. So they basically create the perfume with their own materials. They don't have to purchase anything from anyone. So this one has every single facet of an orange tree. It has the stems, it has the orange peel, it has the flowers, it has the soapiness of a typical Neroli note. It has a calming effect. It is bitter, it is citrusy, it is so spectacularly well done, so well rounded, magnificent, guys. A perfect masculine scent, perfect for the summer, for the not the winter, but this would actually work anywhere at any time, guys. You cannot get enough of this, you cannot overspray this one. This is just a perfect masculine. Neroli at its purest state. Next up, I'm gonna talk about the most authentic vanilla pod perfume in existence. This is Vanille West Indies by Ligne Saint-Barthélemy. Saint-Barthélemy is an island in the Caribbean and they create perfumes in that tiny island, and the pinnacle of the line is Vanille West Indies. I said in my previous videos about vanilla that I prefer vanillin when compared to the vanilla pod, simply because it's just more edible. It is fantastic, sweeter, and you just want to pour it all over yourself. But this is making me second guess my statements because it is so perfect. This is the perfect vanilla pod perfume, and I believe the reason is because it is balanced with a caramel note that sweetens things up, yet the originality, the originality of the vanilla pod note is undeniable. This is like me making a cake at home. I'm slicing through the pod, getting all those tiny grains out, and this is exactly how it smells. The perfect feminine vanilla scent. This does not smell very good on me for some reason. Chemically, I'm not made for this perfume, but on the paper strip and on my girlfriend, this smells like... I don't want to be rude, I'm not going to curse, I'm not going to say things that are rated, but I would love to. This smells just like heaven. Perfect vanilla scent. Perfecto. Next up, guys, I'm going to talk about the perfect representation of a cigar humidor. If you love tobacco, if you're looking for the most authentic perfume that showcases the many nuances of a wet tobacco leaf. For example, when you're opening a cigar box and you have Monte Cristos, you have Romeo y Julieta, and all those Cubano cigarillos in front of you, Hors du Serail is as good as it gets. This from Naomi Goodsir is like wearing a cape made of a wet tobacco leaf. Oh my god, this smells so good. Some of you might be put off by the opening, which is rather sweet, but give it 2 to 3 minutes, it will tone down and become the most authentic cigar smelling perfume in existence. This is not a lit cigar, this is just a wet, fresh cigar, just made out of the box, humid, damp, slightly cherried, but not too much. And actually this got me compliments for some reason. Usually tobacco fragrances do not get me much compliments unless we're talking about Herod. The other ones are just too masculine, too powerful, or too sweet. But this one is just perfectly balanced. At the end of the day, I will pick this one over anything else, and I'm gonna order a bottle of it. Sample is sadly gone. Oh man, this is La Havana. I'm in Cuba, guys. I'm a Cubano. Man, sipping on some rum and smoking my cigarillo. Beautiful stuff. Incredibly intense. Lasts all day and just exudes sophistication from La Havana. Fantastic stuff. Now, that was the wet, damp tobacco smell. If you want to know what a dried tobacco leaf perfume smells like, this is a dried tobacco leaf, by the way, guys. I have tobacco plants in my house. I have many. And it is a very peculiar plant. It has flowers up top, which only smell at night. During the day, they smell like nothing at all. But at night, they have a fantastic honeyed, hayish type of odor. Whereas the leaf is just hay and the typical leafy smell that you would get when you walk outside in fall and you have leaves all over the ground. The perfect representation is in the form of Parfum d'Empire's Tabac Tabou. Tabac Tabou, guys, is a masterclass in perfumery when it comes to tobacco. It is very dry. There's no sweet notes in this one. So if you love your tobaccos sweet, avoid this at all costs. But if you like them authentic, this is it. This is on the complete opposite spectrum of Tobacco Vanille, Herod, Faidon, Tabac Rouge, Bouclé Tabac, and all those cherry pipe tobacco. This is all the way down there in the hyper-realistic holograms of tobacco leaves. I don't know how he achieved this, but Antoine Corticchiato, who is the owner of this brand and the perfumer, achieved a spectacular effect with this one. A very, very holographic representation of a tobacco leaf. Fantastic. Next up, guys, the most authentic cedar smell. Cedar is a wood. To me, it's like the king of all woods. When you think of woods, you think of cedar. Cedar, very simply put, smells like pencils, but in this perfume, it is so much more than that. This is Oud Rouge Intense. Sample is almost finished, so this is a very expensive perfume. I'm not even going to spray it. I know exactly how it smells like. So this is a smooth, buttery cedar, slightly grainy, and it is accompanied by a beautiful scent of Australian sandalwood. I wish it wasn't so expensive, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. This brand is excessively expensive for what it gives, but I must admit that they have the perfumes that are so good. I wish I was richer. Anyhow, this also has some oud in it, but the star is the cedar. It is very similar, not very, but kind of similar to Royal Oud by Creed, just done to perfection. This is just smoothened out, no sharp edges, buttery, richer, just like the perfect cedar that I could ever think of. And something else, guys, something else. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, number 10. This is the perfect representation of gum rosin. Shamsud. Gum rosin is a resin, by the way. It smells like nothing when you have it in your hands, but when you put it on a piece of charcoal and you let it burn, it just becomes waxy and piney, and Shamsud perfectly encapsulates that feeling. This is like Christmas in a bottle. This is only for the colder days. This is when Christmas time arrives. You're sitting on a chair, you have your family on one side, the chimney in front of you, Christmas tree on the other side, and candles burning, some incense burning. It just represents vacations, you know, holidays and family, coziness. This is it, guys. This is it. So I'm gonna give you a little bonus because I feel like it. I'm going to talk about a tar called Café Ambre Noire, and this is basically the smell of Profiterole. Profiterole is basically a treat very famous in France, but all over the world actually. And it is made up of a pâte à choux, which is basically a pastry that you fill with chocolate and you have a topping of glaze, a glazed chocolate topping basically. And the only difference is that the filling in this case is made up of coffee chocolate. I don't know how Sultan Pasha did this. I'm talking about Sultan Pasha Café Ambre Noire. I don't know how he achieved this result, but it's mind-blowing that a perfume could be so realistic and represent the smell of a pastry shop so well. Man, I have never experienced anything in my life like this. I am going through the whole sample set. There's a lot. There's 27 tiny samples. Check out the viscosity of this thing. I could keep it upside down for all my life, and this will not move 1 inch. It won't. It is just so dense, powerful, bold. I'm entering in a French pastry shop and I love it. This is a pâte à choux. This is an éclair au chocolat. Oh man, just mind-blowing stuff. If you like your perfumes edible, go for Café Ambre Noire. Now guys, there's a lot more perfumes that I could have talked about. I have a bag full of samples that actually represent the smells that you would find everywhere in the world around us. I don't want this video to be too long. If you enjoyed, let me know. I'm gonna make a part 2. And that being said, guys, I'm gonna try to upload a little bit more. I've been kind of busy these days, so I apologize. And you know how it is. Now, that being said, I salute you. I hope you have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Ciao.